had the secondary patrol sweep the area where Gonzalez lost contact with Peter. They recovered his remains. I hope that when the time is right, you'll give him a funeral with appropriate military honors. He would want that. I think you'd agree he earned it. We need to determine if we can go on without him. I can provide tactical guidance, Ian. I can't lead a revolution. Peter knew how to inspire people, how to move them to take action. He helped start the resistance on Kentaris, and it's having an effect, but it's still unorganized. Unless we can spark others to join the struggle, it'll eventually be overwhelmed. Without Peter's guidance, I'm not sure we can make the difference.
I share your grief, Major, but I joined Sir Peter, having already lost my Duke and my world. He showed me the importance of fighting for what they meant to me, not surrendering to despair and loss. Sir Peter asked Ian to return from one unwinnable war only to join him in another. He has given us victory against Steiner every time we have met in battle. Shall we now say he's not given enough to merit our confidence?
No, I'm not saying that.
There is no issue of whether we move forward, Elise. I can't replace him. But Sir Peter said that if we showed resistance was possible, the people of Kentaris would rally. I trust them to do their part, if we do ours.
Okay. We push forward then. We were planning on moving to the Hadra Peninsula to rendezvous with resistance elements and liberate armaments and personnel to use against Steiner. But Carl has identified something from our new satellite data that may warrant we divert.
The dropship your uncle crippled in orbit was able to make a rough landing in the Olympian reaches. We're showing a lot of activity in the area that indicates Steiner is trying to get the ship operational again.
We could set down outside their sensor range, then move into the area by ground, neutralize the units guarding and supplying their operation, and destroy the dropship before they can complete repairs. But diverting from our original op is a risk, Ian. Any delay before we rendezvous with the Resistance may result in Steiner shoring up their defenses. We need the assets at Hadra, equipment and personnel, to overthrow Steiner. If we delay, we might lose them forever.
What kind of forces would we be facing at the dropship crash site?
Light compared to what they have at Hadra. It's remote.
Then we divert. If you are facing doubts about our ability to move on, Elise, then other members of our team will have them too. A victory here can help us eliminate something much more dangerous than a dropship. Upload your operational plan and I'll get us set up for the first drop.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to pass on my condolences. Your uncle was a great man. I know just because you're not wearing your heart on your sleeve that his death hasn't affected you.
Thank you, Casey.
I also wanted to mention that Major Rathburn was hit pretty hard. She's not exactly open about her feelings, but she was with the Colonel a lot of years. It's taking about everything she's got to keep it together. Under the circumstances, she may not be at her best. I know she has a lot of faith in you.
If you talk to her before I do, please, tell her I understand, and I'm very sorry for what she's going through.
I'll tell her. Thanks. And in case there was any doubt, I'm behind you, sir. I was from the beginning.
Alright, there we go. Welcome back for the third installation. Apologies if I talk over recorded stuff. I have to do this with the audio turned off on the video, because despite all of the settings saying it's not going to, the recording software picks up both. So I have to do it on mute to avoid the audio issues I had last time. But anyway, as you see now in this one, as we're getting going, I get to play for the first time with a Heckin' Chonker. We've got the Awesome available, modified the weapon loadout for this first one, and put Jen in the Catapult for some long-range fire support, and go in and do some mech stomping. Stompy robot time.
Omega lead, this is Control. I show you nearing the outer patrol area. Omega forward, do you have your teams deployed?
We're moving out. We'll have to go to foot squad, so we may have some blind spots. ETA, 2 minutes.
Roger, forward. All right, Omega lead, we have reports of Mechs patrolling the area. You'll have to take them out before won't be able to give you any position data until we get sightings from forward.
Roger, Control. Intercept and destroy mech patrols.
Good luck.
Sensors online. Weapons systems.
So now, as you see, what Sir Peter is dead. We're trying to figure out what to do going forward here, and decide to operate in this area to go after a grounded Steiner dropship in this combined op of the several missions here.
Roger, 4-9.
We also start running into some heavier opposition and get to play with some bigger toys, as you see here. The Awesome is not great on mobility, so a little bit of a disadvantage in this kind of terrain. But when you do manage to close with something, boy, does the firepower make up for it. You can outfit this one with just what it has in the TRO loadout, which is to say nothing more than the 3 PPCs and I think a small laser. But I wanted to try something different on this one. I think I go back to that loadout in the future. And I'm sorry, with the setting of this game, an assault mech slamming into a cougar at speed should not just bounce off it. That should do some serious impact damage.
Roger, 2-5. Patrol that beta.
They probably split up their lances to get additional coverage. Target destroyed.
So as you see right now, I've got 4 large lasers and 2 medium lasers on this, so I can keep up a pretty good ongoing barrage here. I can't remember if I do or not in this. I know when I play this on my own, just doing like the quick missions, I do like having the 3 PPC one. I usually set each one to a different trigger so I can stagger the fire and keep the PPCs just hitting at an interval. But in this one, I wanted a little more direct, you know, rapid, what do you want to call it? Not not rapid fire, but like instantaneous, not having to lead so much, because I knew I was going to be coming up against a lot of little shit here. There's also, I think it's the second one of this, is another one that I have to rerun. I'll explain when I get into it. What happened the first time is just something to keep in mind if you run this. It's something you're going to have to watch for, because it was a dumb glitch in the game. It was nothing I did wrong, but it was something with the way the mission is set up. Something happened that I'll explain when it gets to it.
Heat exceeding recommended level.
So, in fact, simple way to put it before I get into the details when I get to that mission is that basically the setup of the mission punishes you for doing well. So,
Roger. Looks like we got him. This is forward lead. I lost contact with 2-9er. I'm uploading their last position as Nav Delta. I'm getting a squad over there. Suggest you check Delta with extreme caution. Acknowledged.
Not good.
I think it's the end of this campaign where going forward I get my hands on the mech that I run pretty much for the rest of the campaign until I get into where I have to run the big heavy assault stuff to get through it. When you get into the end stages of most campaigns in any games like this, but especially in this one, you get to where if you don't have an assault mech and your lance all in assault mechs, you're basically screwed, because you are up against so much firepower that there's nothing you can do with a lighter mech. You just get ripped to shreds.
Roger, 3-9er. 2 heavies on the move at Gamma.
But even sometimes with the assault mech, you still get ripped to shreds and have to do it again. But I think the only time you're possibly going to see me running with any of the easy mode stuff turned on is when I get into the third one of the games in this series when I get to Mercenaries. I think for the Solaris 7 matches, I will probably do those with damage turned off just to be able to get through them quickly. Uh, I really don't like the Solaris parts of that. I don't enjoy them. I think it's a stupid diversion in the game. So I just want to get through them and get on with the main campaign. So I will probably do those just to, raffle stomp my way through and get them done with. Plus, that way I can not worry so much about my armor protection, and I can have some fun with the mech loadouts for the battles.
No sign of 2-9er squad.
The actual matches themselves I will not be doing with the damage and the heat and everything turned off, but I probably will for the Solaris matches. At this point, I have finished this game. I have everything recorded. I'm just staggering out the releases rather than dumping them all at once. And I've moved on to the Black Knight Legion. I had some issues with my computer. I had to delete the first several campaigns and start over again because my computer was being really, really dumb. I had to get in and delete and move a whole bunch of stuff to make space because the video recording software was giving me a real hard time. But we're good now.
Heat exceeding recommended level. Heat exceeding recommended level.
Really annoying me to know two of my shots seem to be hitting in the same area despite I'm trying to aim at the same point every time.
Warning.
But that's Battletech.
Target's
There,
destroyed.
he's finally down.
Approaching heat level critical.
Yeah, most of the damage I take from this one is from having the stuff blow up right in front of me. So.
Roger.
In fact, I think the issues I have with the lasers in this one is why after either the next mission or the one after it, I start running the PPCs more. Because I like the lasers, but just in this game, I just don't like the way stuff is set up.
Are you showing any other
There we go.
Negative, Major. Looks like the area is clear.
Roger, forward. Maintain
So
patrol
mission
during
2 is already
salvage
done, and we're not even
Salvage,
15 minutes
coordinate
in.
with forward and see what you can recover. Window 3 hours.
Roger, Control.
Good work, Omega. Return to base and let's get ready to move.
On the way, Control. Good work, everybody.
Targets destroyed.
And we salvaged a vulture out of it. Not bad. That's a very good mech in this game. I love it.
Cantares, we mourn the loss of Sir Peter Dressari, who was slain in battle, murdered by the forces that support the usurper Duke William Dressari. Sir Peter's death is tragic, but the struggle to free Cantares continues. Remember, Sir Peter's death was for your liberation. Even now, the fight rages on. Resistance fighters have successfully disrupted military cargo shipping, sabotaging equipment and services across Cantares. And the forces that gathered under Sir Peter's banner are still out there. Steiner forces are not as powerful as they would have to be. The fight is not over. The fight is not lost. Remember Sir Peter Dressari.
Alright, so you might notice a bit of a glitch in this because I get to where it loaded the first time, and then I'd reload going into the second time I had to do it. So there might be a small glitch or hiccup in the video here for that, but not much. I didn't catch it when I did a watch through, but sometimes I miss something. I also, you'll see anytime I'm in the mountain or anything like that, I do this Royal Harrier paint scheme on the mechs. I love that look. In fact, I'm painting up a lance of miniatures in that look.
Omega lead. We're in the pass. Roger, Omega lead. Forward has the convoy's lost position.
Okay, so this should be the second time I ran this. Um, the first time what happened is, as you'll see when I get in there, whichever route you go, it doesn't start moving until you get within sight of it, so it's not like, you have to rush through the points and everything else. Yeah, this is the second time. The convoy that you're after, the mechs and tanks and stuff, as I have mentioned in this previously, every time you kill a tank or a mech in this game, it does the fusion reactor explosion, as some older fans of BattleTech will say. It's stack poles. Since you start out with the mechs and the tanks right in with the convoy, the explosion of the mechs and tanks you knock out, if you're able to get in there, surprise it, and start ripping shit apart the way you want to, the explosion takes out what you're supposed to be capturing to salvage, and you fail the mission. So you literally have to do what I do here, which is get them on sensors and get in close, and then hang back, or depending on what the AI decides to do, fall back and draw them away from the convoy that you're after, so you're taking out the escorts does not inadvertently kill the convoy, which is a pain in the balls, but it's the way the game is set up, so yeah. There you see them right over there. They're not even started. They're just sitting in idle right now. There they go. They just started moving. So if you you'll get a lucky shot and hit one of these cougars and take it out, like an alpha strike in the back or something. The explosion of it will take out everything else, which is dumb. Thank you so much, MechWarrior 4. But yeah. In the tabletop and in most of the other MechWarrior games, it is almost impossible to get something to explode and take out the reactor unless you do a catastrophic critical hit through the center torso is the only way to take out the reactor. A pilot shot blowing out both engines, taking out the torsos and disabling it, da 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 da. That's not going to set off the reactor. Like, they've had this technology for 1,000 years. They know how to make it work safely. In the timeline of this, in 2022 was when the first fusion reactor was invented. They've been being used for this stuff for over 8,000 years by this point. It's not, an experimental technology that you look at it funny and it goes off on its own, and yeah, no, doesn't happen.
Warning, heat exceeding recommended level.
So now fighting these guys and drawing them off the convoy has moved up to a safe distance, so we're able to do this properly and then move up and keep engaging.
Trying to slow down a mech with a tank is not an assignment I'd volunteer for.
I do like one of the things I do like about this game, the way it's set up. You are not required to hit every single nav point. If it's something like this where you're trying to head something off before it gets to a certain nav point, it will let you select a further nav point and move up to there. You don't have to walk through all of the pattern to do it. Because some games are not like that. You have to hit all the points and do it in sequence, and it's dumb, but it's the way they are. This one is thankfully not one of those. Let's just walk through him. Yeah, these are the vehicles. We need to take these out. We need to keep the mechs away from them so that we can take the mechs out without destroying the vehicles.
Warning. Heat exceeding recommended level.
I love how in this game the impact of lasers can knock the mech over. I can see with PPCs, but lasers is a bit weird.
Warning. Heat exceeding recommended level. Target
Attention, Steiner convoy. Your escorts have been destroyed. Stop immediately and shut down your engines or we'll turn you into scrap.
You'll do it, boys. Take it from me. He's definitely stressed out. Maybe it'll run balance, too.
Thanks a lot, Jules.
Hey, it worked, didn't it?
Control, this is Omega Lead. We've got the convoy shut down and the area looks secure.
Roger, Omega. Hold the convoy there for now. Once the salvage teams secure the area, I'll signal to return to base. Support, upload nav Omega and move in.
Support is rolling.
Roger, Control, we'll hold here. I don't think these guys will give us any problems.
I would imagine not. Good work. Control out.
There you go. We got some decent salvage out of it. Not so much in terms of mech, but we got some good weapons, including some nice ERPPCs, the clan version, and lots of other stuff here. So I get to start doing a little bit of fun tweaking with my mechs here going forward. Not so much in this next mission, but going forward.
We intercepted a communication between Lord Roland and Major Castro. I'll forward what we have.
Information about that dropship. I made promises, Vonda.
I also know you downplayed your losses on the moon in your latest report to the Archon.
Well, with Peter Dressari dead, I at least get some compensation for the loss of my satellite facility.
Losing that facility makes it that much harder to track the Dressari forces. And the fact that it was attacked after Sir Peter's death indicates that someone else is carrying on. I respectfully suggest that you stop underestimating the threat of insurrection, Lord Roland.
Good work, young Duke. The convoy was carrying a large cache of supplies that we can use in our attack. Most significantly, mobile artillery. The crews are getting the guns set up within range of the dropship repair encampment. If you mount an artillery targeting sight on your mech when you engage, you can use the guns to help you destroy the dropship.
I used artillery strikes to neutralize targets on Port Arthur. I'll keep that in mind.
That ship may still have operational weapons. If so, they'll try to get them online as soon as they realize you're inbound. So don't get too close. Remember, it's a big target. Load up on long-range weapons and stay the hell away from it.
Commander,
Yes, Jules.
I want to mention I've had a lot of training in night fighting. I think it would be the right approach for our situation.
I don't disagree, but what's your reason?
Well, beyond less heat buildup, anytime we're walking into a situation where the enemy outnumbers us, night gives us the edge. Fewer of their units will be used to night fighting. Detection ranges will be shorter, and they'll have a lot harder time targeting. Beyond that, we can use the cover of night to retreat, if necessary. Also, I think the rest of the team needs all the night fighting experience they can get.
Good points, Jules. I'll think it over. And if we get into any situations that require night fighting, I'll keep your skills in mind.
Thank you, Commander. I'd appreciate it.
There we go, finally getting into this. Vary up my weapons a little bit here for this mission. I think it's either after this one or after the first mission of the next campaign where I get the one I really want to be running. Also, in this, despite everything Carl said and the suggestion for this going forward, you will never see me use that artillery strike thing in this. Uh, I remember from when I played this back in the day, the artillery strike is a pain in the ass and is probably more trouble than it's worth. So I will never run it. Not to say, if you're gonna play it, don't bother, but I never do. Because quite often as you've probably noticed, your lance mates like to get up, like face hug what they're shooting at, whatever it might be. And the artillery strike coming in can take out your lance mates, which is not really helpful going forward. So, also, in my opinion, it's wasted tonnage on your mech. You can use that for armor or better weapons or whatever. Why would you waste the tonnage on the artillery strike?
Control, we're on the perimeter. Roger, Omega Lead. We have Foxtrot 09er moving into position for recon. Artillery is standing by. Dropship location is to the northeast. We don't know repair status on the dropship, so just like on the moon, try to take it out before we can power up. All groups report. Artillery is locked and loaded. Give us a target and we're ready to fire. Over. Rescue, recovery, standing by at 4 clicks. Over. Salvage, standing by. Over. This is Foxtrot 09er. We sighted the dropship. Just follow the big skid marks in. They have multiple crews working on the bird. Looks pretty close to airworthy. We have a mixed lance of medium and light mechs providing cover. Various other arm units moving around down here too. No sign they know we're here. Over. Okay, team. Let's take out that dropship. If Steiner was wondering where we might hit next, I guess they'll know shortly.
Sensors online.
Also, I can't remember what mission it gets brought up in, but when one of the Steiner officers is criticizing that Lord Roland, or whatever the hell his name is, about being very heavy-handed, and says, on this planet of all places. If you want a interesting read, look up Kentari's 4, the world this takes place on Sarna.net, and read up the in-game, in-universe history of this planet. Yeah, she's not wrong. If there's any place you don't want to do heavy-handed and start threatening to massacre the civilians and all that, it's Kentari's 4.
Control, we just got hit
I
with
won't get into it here, it's a long story, but yeah, look it up if you're curious. Or if you want to skip the entire planetary history and just get into the part I'm talking about, look up Kentari's 4, or the Kentari's Massacre.
Omega, I'm picking up some EM interference. They must be powering up the dropship system. Be careful. Target's destroyed. Target is terminated.
A very good example of why the succession wars in general and the, what do you want to call it, the Draconis Combine in particular are the reason we can't have nice things. Kentari's Massacre.
We might get some good salvage out of this if artillery doesn't drop a shell on it. Artillery here, confirmed. Don't paint it if we don't hit it.
Enemy detected. Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
Gotta say, in this game, and I'm not so much complaining because they're the opposition. They're meant to just be taken out. But in my opinion, the vehicles in this game are way more fragile than they should be in Universe. The Bulldog should not be taken out by a single PPC hit. For gameplay simplicity, I can kind of see, but in the reality of like the tabletop version of this and the lore, the tanks, the main difference you have, or main benefit battle mechs have over tanks in this is they're controlled by one person and they have more mobility, better in varying terrains. The tanks carry just as much armor and weaponry as a battle mech does. They should be much more dangerous than they are in this game. As many tanks and vehicles as you run into in some missions of this game, you should be absolutely ripped to shreds before you take them out. I mean, some of them not so much, but when you start running into like Devastators and Myrmidons and things like that in this game, that should be a major pucker factor even in a battle mech. And the LRM and SRM carriers you run into in this, they, as a rule, are generally, they're very fragile because they're built on a light frame. But like the LRM carrier in this is, I believe, or in the game is, I believe, 3 or 4 LRM 15 or 20 launchers that all fire at once in one salvo. That many missiles coming in, if they don't take you out, they should at least knock you on your ass. Excuse me. And in this game, they're really nothing that worrisome. In the HBS Battletech game, I think the vehicles are a lot more like they're supposed to be. But in this, not really. Same with aerospace fighters. You should not be able to take out an aerospace fighter with a single laser or PPC hit like you do in this. Helicopters, VTOLs, yes, they're very fragile. But full-on aerospace fighters and stuff, no, they should be a much bigger threat than they are.
Target destroyed.
Unfortunately, taking out the APUs in this doesn't do anything except keep this thing from powering up. You still got to take it down full frickin' armor value, which takes a while.
My target. Roger.
But then again, dropships are supposed to be massive and very dangerous. So I'm guessing I don't remember if the weapons ever come online on this thing if you don't take the APUs out, because I always go for them first, but you definitely don't want this thing starting to shoot back, because they got some serious firepower to them. I think this is meant to be a Union-class dropship, but I could be wrong. Some of the visual models in this game, especially on the equipment and stuff, are very far off what they're shown in the TROs and in other games. There we go. So that's the end of this portion of the campaign. As always, thanks for watching. Please give a like and subscribe. It very, very much helps me out. And we will see you on the next one. I'm probably going to be releasing these one a week to keep them spread out and keep from swamping YouTube with them. So have a good one. We'll see you later.